Hello everyone, welcome back to the replay studio and another episode of Haikyuu episode 7. Last time on Haikyuu, our match against Seijo has finally begun, and unfortunately Hinata's having a bit of first game jitters. A bit odd. I mean, I guess technically this is his first official match, even though it's just a practice match. But he did play against Kageyama's old school in junior high, in middle school. So I mean, he wasn't, well, he was nervous back then, wasn't he? He was, yeah, he was, and then he met Kageyama at the bathroom. So he did have maybe that's an ongoing thing for him. He hasn't been in a lot of official games, and I could understand then because more pressure was being placed on him at that point. Because he was, I think, in that match against Kageyama's old school, he was the captain because no one else really knew anything about volleyball, and he himself knew very little. So I can understand more pressure back then, but here now he actually has a full team who supports him, but he's still nervous. Still understandable though, because it's a different type of pressure. It's not so much as before where he felt as though everything was on his shoulders, but now he feels as though if he messes up, he's gonna get pulled from the game, and that's gonna be it. No more volleyball. But I'm glad to see Kageyama stepped in. It was one of the funniest moments. What I'm realizing with this series, interestingly enough, I've had a lot of gripes with a lot of the anime that have come out in recent years because they tend to divert from what I know anime to truly be in terms of character development and humor and all of that. And at times they tend to replace that with raunchy humor and ichi and stuff like that, which isn't a substitute for good storytelling and good camaraderie and friendship and all of that. And it's weird that this is one of the few anime that have come out recently that have reminded me so much of what anime used to be like. And I'm not hating against the older 90s 2000s anime versus the current day anime. They're very different, clearly. I think it's changed towards the demographic now, but at the same time, I think some writing has suffered as a result of that that transformation. But Haikyuu has definitely, weirdly, because it's a sport anime, which as I mentioned before, I don't normally take towards sport anime with very few exceptions. And this is one of the few that has, that's taken me back, and I find myself having nostalgic moments about anime that I've watched in the past, and it's just a very odd moment for me. It's like, okay, this is the anime that does it, all right? Because you don't feel as though you hate any of the characters so far. It's not one focal character, at least not so far for me anyway, because as much as I like Hinata and I like Kageyama, but I like all the other members of the team so far, and it's very promising. I have very high hopes for the anime, and hopefully it lives up to all the hype that people have said this is great. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. I think Hinata has calmed down now. He's ready to go, and there's a character that showed up at the very end of the last episode, whose name I have heard spoken highly of before. Okawa, I think his name is. So I'm very interested to see how. I mean, they've already lost the first set, and Seijo has lost the first set, and I think we're in the second set. I'm not sure how much of a difference he's going to make at the very end here, but I hear he's a fan favorite, so I can't wait. Episode 7, let's check it out.
Oh, 戻ったのかおいか。足はどうだった？
I had an injury. So it was his request. And I take it that means that they have some history.
あれが正常の首相だ。
影山がここまで言う選手。
That's the first.
お前の知り合いってことは北川大地のやつかよ。
はい。中学の先輩です。
王様の先輩ってことは。
Dang.
大王様。
It doesn't seem as bad as Suki so far. We'll see.
元気に王様やってる？
俺、サーブとブロックはあの人を見て覚えました。
Wow. He must be really good. I mean, getting such high praise from Kageyama. He doesn't really praise anybody.
ねえ及川さんまだ出ないのかな。
Comes with his own fan club.
怪我しちゃうんだから。
I did this too. You only need one more point.
ベスト4の
It's hard to believe that they're in the top 4 though.
あららピンチじゃないです
And I mean, I love Karasuno, but they're not
バッチリ
they're not quite a team just yet. And if Sage is already losing to them,
多分
Kageyama looks worried.
いくら攻撃力が高くてもさその攻撃までつなげなきゃ
Damn! I love that animation change, by the way. He's aiming for Suki. Wow. The ones with the weakest receives. He's good. We figured all of that out just watching part of the match. It's interesting that the setter is actually a captain. And still aiming for Suki. I don't know. I think Suki kind of needed to be knocked a couple pegs down after everything that he's pulled the past few episodes. So can the captain be any position on the court? Because Karasuno's captain, Daichi's, I guess he's more defensive. Yeah, that's Daichi's receives are his strong suit. Ah, he planned it so the ball would go back to their side of the court. Because Suki's now in the back, so they don't have the height. Alright, Hinata. The quick, here it comes. They just need that 1 point. Oh, aiming for Oikawa. Nice. Yeah, Kageyama is not the only third on the court anymore.
コートの端っこから一瞬でスパイカーの手に吸い込まれるようなトス。
He's actually impressed. He just barely won. Oh, this is the first time he's seen it.
先生なんか好評とかああそうか僕はまだバレーボールに関して素人だけど
Wait, he's their coach?
何かすごいことが起こっだけど
I thought it was just an organizer or
バ
something.
ラバラだったらなんてことない一人と一人が
Oh, you weren't there for all of that
変化を
though.
起こす今この瞬間もどこかで世界を変えるような出会いが生まれていて
That's some speech though.
遠い遠い国のごめんちょっと声に出た聞いた
That was perfect, man. That was perfect.
あうん
So they beat Seijo in a practice match, but their captain and their setter wasn't playing.
俺たちはもうあいつには限界なんです
I mean, that was in junior high though. I mean, can forgive him. He made the right call. I mean, saying that to the coach that, you know, they're better off without Kageyama because they are. You know, if he didn't leave, then their team wouldn't have changed.
そんで次は絶対に俺たちが勝つ
これあれだなんか因縁的なあれだ
Bad timing, Hinata. Bad timing. Said we, not I.
いっつも俺がって
一人で戦ってるみたいな言い方してたくせに。
I think we can give Hinata some credit for that. He's having a weird impact on Kageyama without him even realizing it. I still think the team seems kind of weak if they were losing because one player wasn't on the court. I don't think one player should be carrying the entire team.
次は最初から全力でやろうね。まだセットアップは見せてなかったし。あ、そうそう。もちろん。
Yeah, all he did was basically serve. I didn't see him set.
あのサーブが最初から炸裂するんだ。
俺はこの
He's making a challenge. What is his deal with Kageyama though? I mean, it's clear that it's obvious from what everyone has said that he's better than Kageyama. Kageyama has admitted as much. That he learned everything he knows from him, so he's already better. So why so touchy with Kageyama and continually trying to prove that he's better? Daichi is intimidated. Who's he? The Guardian Deity. He's right though, the receives are awful. But then they do have Daichi, but Daichi alone can't cover the entire court, so there's that.
回しで飛びようにかなうやつ県内にはいないんじゃない？まあサーブもブロックもスパイクも負けないけどね。あ、いった。トスも負けないって言えよ、クソイカ。
Well, if it's true, it's true.
だって本当のことだもん。ボールがセッターに返んなきゃ意味ないんだ。公式戦でカラスの。That's
true. All he has to do is just play service aces and ensure the ball never gets back to the setter. This team is so laid back. I like them. I like them.
あの青葉城西高校に勝っちゃうんだから。
でもまだ足りないんです。
Yeah, Daichi alone can't cover all their weaknesses.
すみません。先生が力不足とかじゃなくてですね。
わかってるわかってる。指導者の方は僕に任せてくれ。
Yeah, because he hasn't been doing much coaching. His speech was damn good, but
このモップ危ないから捨てちゃってもいいですか？
あ、いいんだそれは。いいんだ。 直せばまた使えるだろう。お疲れした。
腹減った。
奥務怠慢だ。うるせえ。さっさと帰ってちゃんとした飯を食え。筋肉疲れるぞ。ほら。
That's nice.
あれ？っていうか。
Yeah, why didn't he go to Seija? Is that the school that turned him down? Oh, okay. Shiratorizawa.
落ちました、白鳥沢。
落ちた。
白鳥沢から推薦来なかったし、一般で受けて落ちました。試験が意味不明でした。あそこは普通に入ろうとしたら。
So his grades suck in addition to them not accepting.
勉強は大したことないんだね。
Which is weird.
俺たちにはまだいろいろ足りてなくて、今日の勝利もギリギリだった。
Which is what's weird about them beating Seijo because they made so many mistakes.
個人のレベルアップも大事だな。けど今のカラスノには根本的にメンバーが足りてないんだよ。
そうですよね。でも守護神が戻って。
Inasa can't be ace. Why? I mean, if they have a powerful ace, do they really need the decoy?
その力をちゃんとつなげてなかった。でもまたみんなが揃って。
けど、そのこれから戻ってくる人は。
Yes, this guardian that I mentioned.
なあ、1週間の自宅謹慎と。
I mean, I'm guessing it's supposed to be their liberal. This is it. One of the troublemakers. And that's coming from Tanaka.
それにあいつはな、カラスノで唯一天才と呼べる選手だ。
ま、今はクソ生意気な影山が入ってきたから、唯一じゃなくなった
I guess Kageyama is not the only. Has some competition. His serves aren't as powerful as Oikawa's, but he's still getting good. Gonna get it, gonna get it. Who's this guy? Ah, the guy named Diddy. Shorts. Alright, there have it, episode 7 of Haikyu. Very enjoyable episode. I'm glad our team won. I'm a bit not so much surprised as underwhelmed by Seijo's performance. I was expecting this to maybe go on to even the third set, right? Because they said Seijo is supposedly one of the top 4 schools in the prefecture, right? But for whatever reason, they couldn't win one set against Karasuno, who messed up in the very first set with Hinata's being nervous and fumbling around the place and losing them a lot of points. Weak receives from first years who just started playing, Hinata and Suki. And I mean, Kageyama is somewhat more experienced than they are, but his receives, I should say, aren't the best either. So I mean, with all of that in Seijo's favor, they still lost both sets to Karasuno, right? And as Daichi pointed out before, they don't even have an ace. Hinata's a decoy. I wouldn't call him an ace just yet, as much as I think that's where his character is going to develop to being the ace, but he's still hitting the crooks with his eyes closed, so that's not perfect, right? So I'm a bit underwhelmed by Seijo's performance because they're supposed to be this, the school that's in the top 4, and they couldn't win a single set against Karasuno, who hasn't won in a very long time. So I mean, it could be, now that I think about it, it could be that Seijo is known as a powerhouse, but they don't have their best players anymore because they may have moved on to college or something like that. So this team that's there now, because these guys came from Kageyama's junior school, at least 2 of them that we saw came from Kageyama's junior school. And I think he did say that that Oikawa was from his junior high as well. So I guess 3 of them came from his junior high, so which means that the Seijo team that we have now isn't the Seijo that may have been in the top 4. But even so, I would have still thought they would have been recruiting the best players from junior high, and then would be a lot better than this performance that we saw here. I just didn't feel as though Karasuno is that good with everything they have. They have a freakishly tall middle blocker in Suki. But again, Suki's receives aren't his strong suit, right? And we saw Okawa take advantage of that to gain them some points. But yeah, I was just a bit underwhelmed by Seijo's performance as them being one of the top 4 schools to beat. But Okawa seems to be the one that makes the difference, and that I mean it's a team sport, and he's their setter. We didn't get to see him set though, so he could just be that good in tosses and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't think any one person should be carrying an entire team. And you can see that automatically that Seijo's weakness is their entire team, which is a bit, unfortunate, because what happens if Okawa sustains an injury, which I think is what they said happened, something with his ankle, right? So if he sustains an injury, then the team can carry a match against some newbies, which to me just doesn't say that they're all that good. Which raises the question, as they asked the question of Kageyama as to why he didn't go to Shira Torizawa. I hope I got that right. Also why he didn't get in, and he said he didn't get a recommendation from the school, and he didn't do very well in the exams to actually get in, so his grades are just crap. Which is surprising since he's touted as this genius, but I guess it's a genius on the court doesn't necessarily translate to studies. But why is it that Oikawa didn't go to Shiratorizawa? So why did he go to Seijo instead? So there are a lot of questions that I'm hoping we get some answers on, as well as why he has this beef with Kageyama. I said they were both in junior high, but when Hinata's made-up team faced off against Kageyama's team in junior high, we didn't see Oikawa on the team. Kageyama was the one who was setting. So where was Oikawa at that point if they were at the same school? Why wasn't he the official setter, right? Or was he on the bench or something like that? I don't know. So a lot of questions. But I said it before in the reaction that I don't understand. I don't get their beef, but at the same time, everyone seems to acknowledge that Oikawa is better, right? Even Kageyama himself. So why is he so intent on proving that he's better than Kageyama? Because he's the one apparently that stipulated that Kageyama definitely needs to be on the starting setter when they play against each other in this practice match, even though he wasn't there for half of the actual match, right? So why did he push for Kageyama to be there, right? I mean, in the end, there he talked about Kageyama, being a better setter or having better tosses than he does, but that he's definitely better in terms of serves, receives, and spiking. So I mean, overall, it sounds to me that he's the better setter. But why? So why is he? Why does he feel the need to consistently prove that to Kageyama? It's, I imagine we're going to be getting some backstory on these two, and find out why their history. Kageyama acknowledges him as his senior, so I guess he's maybe a year older than he is. But he definitely said, I learned all I learned from him. So everyone acknowledges that Okawa's better. So why does Okawa still feel like he needs to prove that? So again, hopefully we get some more answers for that in the in future episodes. But definitely glad the team managed to come out on top. They said they're missing a few, the ace and the libero, who I'm guessing is the one who the guy who showed up at the end there, who they called a genius by all standards. Comparing him to Kageyama, saying that okay, Kageyama is not the only genius that they now have. So Karasuno's setting up to actually have a pretty nice starting lineup, because offensively they're pretty good, especially with Hinata and Kageyama's quick now incorporated into their play, and Daichi's good at receiving. Tanaka is a good offensively as well. So offensively they're good, but defensively not so much, because they only have Daichi. But I guess with this this libero coming into play, then they'll actually definitely be a lot better. And if they did that well against Seijo without their libero, then I can only imagine that they're going to be quite good, with him on the team now. So he's back, a lot shorter than I thought he would be. He's around Hinata's height or shorter. But I understand the libero position. You don't necessarily have to be tall. I think in some instances it might actually be better that you are short, because you can reach the ball. You can reach dig the ball a lot easier that way. So very interesting. I do have some questions about the captains though. And anyone can answer in the comments and just let me know. I was curious because I was curious that Okawa is the captain of his team, being an actual setter himself. And I mean, I was wondering if maybe Kageyama would be captain at some point in the future, because overall, if he becomes as good as Oikawa in the other areas, then he could be good enough to be captain. I don't think Kageyama is mature enough to do it just yet, because of the first few episodes. He's obviously not at that level quite yet, and he's a first year, so I understand. The Daichi, however, on Karasuno's team is actually captain, and Daichi, I believe, is a wing spiker if I'm not mistaken. So can the captain actually be any position on the court? What exactly are the requirements to actually be captain? Just you're just good in all areas, because we've not seen Daichi do any spikes. His focus has mainly been receives and defending and covering any holes that that his other teammates have. So we've never seen Daichi actually score. So is he a wing spiker? I might be mistaken there, but I'll have to go back and double check. But regardless, what exactly is the requirement to actually be captain? So can a libero be captain? Can a decoy be captain? Whatever the case might be. So post down below, let me know, guys. But definitely an enjoyable episode. Can't wait to see how much better this team will actually get, especially with their libero now, and hopefully if they find an ace, and or if Hinata becomes good enough to actually be ace, I think that's where this will head towards. I don't know if they need a decoy per se. Instead of why not just make Hinata better and good enough to be an ace that, you know, with his physical abilities, I think he can do it. But definitely excited for the next episode, guys. Be sure to post down below, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.